hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 20 of my best coastal Halloween Dollar Tree DIYs for you. So everything's going to be maybe a little bit coastal or maybe a little bit blue, just for some fun for Halloween. Now to get started, we're going to use one of these Dollar Tree skeletons. Doesn't really matter what color it is because we're actually going to be painting him. Now he does have a little tab here so you can make him a hanging skeleton, but we're actually going to have him be a sitting skeleton in this DIY. And I thought it would look really fun and coastal to make him blue instead of this like bone color. I also want him to be able to sit. I'm going to have him actually sitting in a plant. And so I'm going to go ahead and just pop his legs off. And I'm actually going to show you how to make one of these Dollar Tree skeletons into like a jointed skeleton. But first, it's time to paint it. I'm going to do like a nice beachy blue. I think I mixed Caribbean blue and ivory together. It gave me this really soft blue, really similar to probably the Cloudless by Apple Barrel color. And just using a brush, I'm going to go all over and paint the skeleton. I like to paint the Dollar Tree skeletons, even if I paint them like bone colors. I just don't like the way they look a lot of times. They just look kind of cheap. And so I go ahead and paint the back of him. And I painted both legs. We're going to flip him over and paint him again. Now, you could do this DIY for like a house plant or something like that if you had that around the house. I actually picked up a cheap plant from Target, like a fake plant that I'm going to do mine with, but I really love how it turned out. Once I get him painted, this is the plant that I picked up. These are normally like $5 at Target. Sometimes you can get them on clearance though. This is just a boxwood. Doesn't really matter what it is. It is a little bit plain in that white pot, so I'm going to give it some Halloween fun by using some of the Dollar Tree's ribbon. This is one of my favorite Halloween patterns, I think, the bat pattern. Really cute, and the theme I was kind of going with when I put this video together was a blue, white, and black theme, which I really like for Halloween because you guys know I love using blue for just about any season. I just cut out a piece of the ribbon large enough and attach it to the pot with hot glue. It's going to be very temporary. I can always remove that when I go to reuse this plant for another occasion. And I've used these little plants a lot for tier trays and all different kinds of things. It's kind of a medium-sized pot, I would say. But again, you could always use whatever you have around your house, or you could even use a real house plant. Now I'm going to have the skeleton like sitting inside the plant is my plan. So I just went ahead and put him there in the back. I'm going to attach him with a dot of hot glue just to make sure that he doesn't fall out. And kind of have his arms draping like that through the plant. Now I had popped his legs off earlier because I knew I wanted him sitting and I thought I would just be able to put him back together. So the top half looks pretty good. I like how he's looking so far. So now it's time to work on the legs. They're not jointed. So what I'm going to do is just pop mine apart, remove the tags, and then we'll just have to put them back together. So I reattach his leg bones. They're the top parts of his legs to his hip bones like that, just by snapping them back on with plastic, right? And now I just have to figure out like the knees. So this is how I ended up doing it. I just kind of stood it up how I would want it to be. Attach it with a little bit of hot glue. Now you can see like the hole there in the top of the bone. I'll show you how I kind of disguise that to make it look a little bit better. But I just want to make sure that it's sitting properly. And I put a little bit of hot glue inside that hole as well. I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side, just hot gluing that in place. And then to mask the holes, because that doesn't really look very good, I'm just going to use some masking tape. So I just tear off a piece of masking tape and work that around. It's just going to give it a more finished appearance. And you can always paint masking tape. It's pretty thin. It's going to kind of blend in with whatever you're working on. And so I just take that same color paint that we used for the skeleton and paint over the masking tape. And he's going to have 2 little skeleton knees. Definitely made him posable. And I really love how he turned out. He was really easy to do. I guess you could do this in just about any color if you wanted to do a colored one. If you didn't, it would look really good if you did like a bone color, I think, as well, like an ivory. But let me show you how this cute little skeleton turned out. I think he looks really stylish in the blue. Looks like something that you would probably buy at Target, right? And pastels for Halloween can be really fun. I did a Halloween party video on YouTube here where I did all pastels for Halloween, and it was really fun, even the tombstones and everything. This is how he turned out. I think he is really cute, and he is definitely one of my favorite Halloween DIYs. Hey guys, are you enjoying today's video? If you are, be sure to hit that like button. It always helps my videos do better here on YouTube. Okay, for the next DIY, I picked up one of these skeleton mermaids at the Dollar Tree. They don't have them all the time, but sometimes I get lucky and find them there. But I thought it would be perfect to make into a little Merwitch for Halloween. So I also picked up a Dollar Tree long sign. I'm going to have it be vertical though, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove the hanger that was on there and just use like a leftover sawtooth hanger that I have from a canvas. Just nailing that into the back of the sign to make a hanging sign. I think it's going to be the perfect length for our little Merwitch. I'm going to do like kind of a faux ocean scene. So I picked up like all the different shades of blue. I don't think I end up using all these, but I'm just going to do a really abstract beach scene. It's so easy to do. So I'm going to start with like my lightest blue up here at the what's going to be the top of our long sign to do the sky. And trust me, anybody can do it. Like an abstract beach scene is like one of the easiest things you can do. The only thing that was a little bit challenging on this is that I'm painting up and down so that I don't get any on the frame of it. But I'm just switching up different shades of blue as I'm going down and covering up the darker brown wood on the back of the sign. I was trying to avoid having to tape off the frame. But I do want like just a variation in different shades of blue, like you're looking out at the ocean and all the different shades. Now, once I get it on there, I can kind of blend it together going horizontally, which is like I would like to do it in the first place. And it's really forgiving. I mean, you can always add more shades of blue, but again, I just wanted a really abstract beach scene. So is actually going to be pretty easy to do, just kind of blending those all together. I'm going to make the little mermaid into a witch. That's why I also got like the little broomsticks there from the Dollar Tree. And I really love how she turned out. It was pretty cute. Now I do want a little bit more variety here. So I did go in on the top with some more light blue because I wasn't really liking the way it was looking. And then, like I said, super forgiving. And I kind of wanted to look wavy too. So I decided to kind of add some brush marks in there, kind of do like a wavy look as you're coming forward, making the color a little bit darker down here in front. Now, a lot of times when I do a beach scene, I do like real sand. For this one, I thought I could probably get away with just paint. So I'm just using a paint in like a sandy color, and we're just going to paint the bottom. But if you wanted to use sand, you always could. I always just love it when I find these little mermaids at the Dollar Tree. I know that you can get them at Spirit Halloween. The advantage of the ones at Spirit Halloween are that they're jointed, but of course they're a lot more expensive than $1.25 like I got mine. Now for where the sand and the water comes together, I just did a little bit of ivory, and we're just going to do a little sea foam here, blended together. See, I told you it was going to be really easy, just super abstract. And that's going to be a great background for our little Merwitch. Here she is, our little mermaid skeleton. I'm going to remove the little plastic hanger she has on the top of her skull. and I'm going to paint her. I just think that the Dollar Tree skeletons always look better painted. So I'm just using an ivory acrylic and we're going to go all over her. And if she does have some of that like brownish color, you know, coming through after I'm done painting it, I'm fine with that. It's just going to make it look a little bit more distressed and more like bone. But I just think it looks so much better in this color. And so I just go over the front of her. I was so excited the first time I found one of these at the Dollar Tree because I had tried to figure out how I could make a mermaid skeleton. And I'm like, I couldn't find like a fish skeleton there to combine it with, but I was definitely thinking, how can I make this? You definitely have to keep your eye out for her though. I noticed that my stores a lot of times get her in a little bit later than everything else. And so like closer to Halloween. So keep your eyes out for her. I didn't want her head to like go back and forth like it was. So I secured it to the neck here with a little bit of hot glue just to keep it still because we're going to be making her into a Merwitch. So she's going to be needing to wear like a witch's hat and stuff like that. And I don't want her head like kind of turning back and forth when I put her on this side. So I'm just going over her again, touching her up a little bit with just a little bit of a slight distress. I think she's looking pretty good and we can start making her into a Merwitch. For her hair, I want it to be creepy, so I'm going to use raffia for this. You could also use like probably like a grass skirt or something like that if you don't have any raffia, but I think the raffia looks a little bit creepier. So I just take a piece and I hot glue it to the top of the skeleton's head. And as you can see, I didn't even paint the back of it. You totally could, but you're not going to be able to see it on the back the way when I get it mounted to the side. So I'm just giving her enough hair here to kind of cover the sides, which you're going to be able to see from the front. We are going to be making a witch's hat for her as well. So I think that's looking pretty good. She's looking kind of worse for wear. But she is like a Merwitch. I don't want her to be like super attractive. So I just take some black felt from Dollar Tree and I just cut out like a little cone shape here where I can spin it around like that to make a witch's hat. Super easy to make. I'm just going to kind of make it in two different parts. So it's also going to need like the front of the witch's hat too. So I just tried cutting out some more of the felt where I can cut like just a circle for the brim, right? I folded it in fourths to try to make my circle cutting a little bit easier. And then you can attach the cone part to the top, just using a little bit of hot glue and gluing that together. And we have a little DIY witch hat for our Merwitch. Now, I'm going to go ahead and try it on her head. Since she's going to be up against the back of a sign, I did have to cut the back of it off so it will sit flat and won't poke her out from the sign. And I just attach it with a little bit of hot glue and slide that on to our little skeleton mermaid's head. She's looking really fun so far. I really love her. Now that she has her hat, it is time to try to put her together. We have this abstract ocean scene that we painted and I let dry, and I'm going to kind of display her on there like that. She's a little bit larger than the sign, but I kind of like that. I'm fine with it. I'm just going to attach her with hot glue to the sign and maybe to the frame down here too, just for a little bit added sturdiness, and her hat to the top of the frame. Basically anywhere she can kind of comes in contact with it. And I'm glad I decided to give her hair. I think that looks creepy. For a broomstick, these little broomsticks from the Dollar Tree is just the perfect size. I just go ahead and remove the bow. It's kind of on there with a bread tie, and I think it looks better without it. It's just the right size for her. And so I thought I could just glue it here next to her, attaching it to the sign and to the skeleton, where it's just kind of like leaning up against her shoulder. And since I did have her at the beach, I'm going to add a few coastal touches using some of these little seashells that you get in the glass bottles from Dollar Tree on our little beach scene. And then I decided I wanted like maybe a little bat like flying behind her. I thought these were a little colorful, these felt stickers from the Dollar Tree, but you can kind of take them apart like this. I just wanted the black bat, so I just peeled it off and attached it with a little hot glue to have like a bat flying behind her for more of that spooky Halloween vibe. Just going to trim up her hair a little bit. I want it wild, but I don't want it like sticking out too much. But I think she looks really fun. Definitely whimsical. I love doing like a beach theme for about any kind of holiday. Now I decided I wanted to lighten up her broom a little bit, so I just did that with some ivory paint, kind of distressing it just to brighten it up a little bit. And then I decided I also wanted to add some Halloween fun to the frame. This part is totally optional. I just wanted to bring a little bit more black into it. This is some of this, it kind of looks like coral, right? This garland from the Dollar Tree in black. And I thought we could make it look like coral, kind of like shooting up from the beach. And so I just glue it in 3 spots just to make sure it stays in place. But I think it looks creepy, but I also think it looks a little bit like seaweed or something. And I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side. This one needs to be a little bit shorter. I don't have as much room to decorate over here. But I'm glad I decided to add that. I think it really gave it the spooky factor and brought a little bit more black creepiness into the project. This is how she turned out, our creepy little Merwitch. Doesn't she look creepy? I love painting the skeletons because you can make them look a little bit old like that. And the distressing helped with that as well. But really whimsical, really fun. So keep your eye out for the skeleton Merwitch or mermaid at your Dollar Tree because she's really fun to decorate with. Okay, for the next DIY, I picked up a little plastic skull from the Dollar Tree and a few other items. I thought we can make this look like a creepy pirate skeleton. So I wanted to have like an eye patch, and I was trying to think of something black leather I could use. You could do the rolled leather from Dollar Tree. I also like crafting with these bags. These are the purses from the Dollar Tree. You can get them in different colors. This is the black one, and it kind of looks like a felt material on one side and like a leather material on the other side. I just cut down a little eye patch. And then I also cut the strap off of the purse that we can use to attach it. It is a little bit thick, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that down to size to make a little strap for our eye patch. And then I'm just going to glue it right here into the eye socket. I'm not going to paint the skeleton or the skull this time because I have lots of other things we're going to be adding to him, but you know what? You totally could if you wanted to. I just went all the way around his little skull, gluing that in place, and then I can go over it with the little eye patch. So a little hot glue here, and we can attach it, and it looks leather, it looks cool. I love crafting with those bags, but again, you could always use like the faux leather on a roll or even felt for the eye patch as well. But this is what he looks like so far. I want to make just like a little display of him, something that I can display on a Dollar Tree candlestick to kind of boost him up on a pedestal. I thought it'd be creepy for him to have some gold teeth since he's a pirate. So I'm using some metallic gold acrylic, and I'm just going to paint a few of his teeth gold to kind of give him that wealthy pirate feel. And a little bit of bling there in his mouth. I think that looks good. We're also going to be doing like gold coins and stuff like that I picked up at the party section at Dollar Tree. So that'll coordinate nicely with his gold teeth that he has. I think that's a fun little addition to him, especially since I didn't paint him. Now this is the candlestick that I'm going to use to raise him up. It's already black. And so I think that's going to make a great pedestal. They have a smaller skull that's already on a pedestal. You could always DIY that too, but it's going to give you, a way smaller skull. I just attach it with hot glue down to the candlestick like that so he'll stay in place. He's already looking a little bit like a pirate and pretty cool, but I think we can take it up a notch. Now, I thought it'd be cool since he is a pirate skull, like, right? He's going to be something at the bottom of the ocean. So I picked up some of the like little grow sea creatures from the toy aisle at Dollar Tree. And then for the loot, I picked up the party favors, the little gold coins like this. And I thought we could kind of scatter those around underneath the skull and decorate the base of it with it. So I decided to just kind of attach them with hot glue so they would stay in place. And I'm going to do some coins over here, kind of making it look like there's a pile of them by gluing multiple ones together. Big stack of coins. And then there's a crab and a sea turtle. And then I'm also going to use a starfish. The starfish I actually got on Amazon. It's a nice little size of a molded starfish, kind of like the ones they have at the Dollar Tree, but a lot smaller. I just distress everything with some antique wax by Waverly to make them look old and creepy. I didn't necessarily want to paint them black because I have a lot of black going on already on the candlestick that we're using to display our little pirate. So I was trying to determine where to kind of put everything. I like where I have the coins, but I think I'll go ahead and decorate his headscarf first, and then I'll figure out where to put all the sea creatures. I picked up this bandana at Dollar Tree. I love the like minty green color. I thought that looked really fun for coastal. I just folded it in half like that into a triangle and gathering it around his skull and going to tie it off here in the back. To make sure it stays in place, I attach it with hot glue right here in front. Take the corners, tie that off here at the base of the skull. And then just kind of double knot that to keep that in place. And just securing it with a little bit of hot glue. And I think that is a fun way to make him look like a pirate. He's got the patch, he's got the headscarf. I did have a little bit of excess fabric here, so I'm just going to kind of fold it under so it doesn't kind of overwhelm the pedestal down there that we made for him. That looks pretty cool. Now it's time to decorate with the sea creatures. I have the sea turtle, I have the starfish, and I have the little crab there that I available to use. And so I decided to do like a little starfish down here. I really like decorating the base of it a little bit. And then I'm going to do a sea turtle over here, like kind of crawling on the gold coin so you can kind of see him a little bit better. And then maybe the crab like right over here. Now, I thought since he's going to have treasure, I could also do pearls, right? These are those pearls from the Dollar Tree. They're kind of big. I just attached them with hot glue, and I'm going to kind of scatter those around. Add another coin up here to kind of decorate the base. So he looks like he has lots of treasure, lots of sea creatures. And I can even glue some of the pearls to the coins to make it look like some pirate treasure. I just keep adding bling and to it until I'm happy with it. And I think that looks pretty good so far. Now, I do want him to look even creepier. And so I do have a plan to kind of decorate him just a little bit more with some of the creepy cloth from the Dollar Tree. I love this stuff. This is the one it's called gray, but it's more of like a black color. And it's like a cheesecloth material, so I thought it'd be really fun to kind of make him look like he is caught up in a fishing net kind of feel. And so I just draped that over everything. Since it's got like a wide weave on it, you can still see through it and stuff like that. So I think it's just going to make him look even creepier. I just kind of tie it here in the back. We're not going to be able to see it, and cut off the excess netting back there. And attach it with a little bit of hot glue to keep everything together. And I'm glad I gave him that final last touch. I think he looks so cool. Definitely looks like a little pirate with all of his pirate bounty in there. He's even got the eye patch, the gold teeth. Really fun DIY to make. This would be something fun to kind of get the kids involved with too, if you have any little ones around that want to decorate for Halloween. He definitely goes with the coastal Halloween theme, but you could also, kind of just make him regular Halloween, maybe by changing up the colors and maybe not adding like the netting or the sea creatures and just doing like the loot. But I think he's pretty cool. Definitely goes with my coastal Halloween vibe. Now for the next sign, I picked up a trick-or-treat sign from the Dollar Tree with the little jack-o'-lanterns on it. This one's going to have like maybe a little coastal colors on it. So I wanted to make it into a larger sign. I'm going to do that with some of the Dollar Tree wood shelves. I love using these to create larger signs because the wood is very thick. You can paint it, stain it. It's just really a lot better quality than a lot of their signs at the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to put two together. It's going to make the perfect size sign for this. I just do a bead of hot glue and put them together just like that, forming a larger sign. It's going to be the perfect size for the trick or treat. I'm just going to fill in the holes from the trick or treat sign where you could hang it just to fill that in. And I want to paint that and kind of paint all of it. I want to make a standing sign with this. And I was going with black, white, and blue for these DIYs today. The blue is my little touch of coastal. But you could always change it up and do more traditional orange color as well. For the background side, I want it to look black and creepy, so I go over it with just some black acrylic paint. And I don't really mind the holes on the side of the shelves. I think it kind of just adds character to it. For the trick or treat sign itself, I'm going to do white. So I wanted the white to really pop against the black background. And so I just kind of paint all over with that. They do have quite a few of these like wood signs from the Dollar Tree. So it's really easy to make kind of your own Dollar Tree signs by, combining different signs together like this. Since I wanted my touch of blue, I'm going to go in with like this Cloudless by Apple Barrel Color and paint my little jack-o'-lanterns blue just for a little touch of coastal. And I think that's going to look good against the black for Halloween as well. Super easy to do. I told you this was going to be a really easy one. All I have to do now is attach my trick or treat to that black sign. As you can see, that white really does pop against it. I'm just going to do that by putting hot glue on some of the letters kind of evenly across and gluing that down. I really love this. I think it's really cute. It's kind of a big statement piece. I'm going to have this on my shelf for Halloween. And so I do want it to stand up. You could make it into a hanging sign, but since I'm going to have mine stand up, I just used a little bit of craft wood. You could also do this with some of the larger Jenga blocks too, but I just glued that on the back, not quite going all the way to the bottom, so it like leans back ever so slightly like this. And basically that's all there is to it. We have an easy little trick or treat sign with a little surprise, little pop of blue in there. Really cute. I do have a lot of wood Halloween signs that I really do need to DIY with more, I think. They actually turn out pretty good. This is how he turned out. Pretty easy to do. Now for the next DIY, I actually found this cute little coffin at the Target dollar spot for $5, and I thought I could do something really creepy and coastal Halloween with it. You could use one of the Dollar Tree coffin signs and try to kind of make your own. This was already put together though, so I'm going to go for it. Now to make it look creepy, I'm using Spanish moss, and I'm going to do that on both levels. I want it to look like skeletons, like at the bottom of the ocean kind of feel. And so for the skeletons, I'm using these little skeleton garlands from Dollar Tree. Nice tiny skeleton that I think is going to fit nicely in this little dollar spot coffin. And I'm going to kind of try to bury him a little bit in some of this Spanish moss, where he can be down in this bottom section, kind of like a skeleton on the bottom of the ocean kind of thing. And so I add more Spanish moss, trying to make him a little bit more buried in there. He did try to pop apart on me, but easy enough to put back together. And I also want to add like some skulls. These are the little tiny skulls from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to add one up here on the shelf. They come in just a little bag like this. Pretty easy to find at Dollar Tree. And I wanted to add some sea creatures and other things that would be creepy too. I was trying to find some black florals. I was able to find this black succulent from the Dollar Tree, so I thought that looked kind of creepy for Halloween. It does have like a little clip here on it. I just actually used that to kind of clip it down inside there, but I found it worked a little bit better just without it. So I just hot glued that little black succulent in there. I thought that looked creepy. And then these are like the black eyeball roses from the Dollar Tree. They also have like other little pieces on them that look a little bit like coral. And so I'm going to trim off some of those. I thought that would look good in there for like an under the sea kind of theme. They also have like little spiders on there as well, but I was kind of going for the little coral parts here. And you could also use that black coral garland that they have. That would work well for coral too. But I was kind of going for black spooky things to add. And I just do one on the top and in the bottom, kind of peeking out from behind the Spanish moss. I don't know why, I think the Spanish moss really helps with the creepy factor. These are some of those little grow animals from the toy aisle at Dollar Tree. The sea turtle is already black and creepy. So I thought I could paint the little stingray to make him black and creepy too. Half of his body is already that color, so I just have to kind of paint the back of him here. And it's going to make him look spooky. You could also do some of like the grow fish and stuff like that. As long as you're not adding water to these, you can definitely paint them. I'm going to do my little sea turtle in front of the coral down there, little stingray up here. And I'm just attaching them with hot glue because I am going to like stand this up. I don't want them falling out. I want everything to kind of stay in place, especially if it's more towards the front. Now, I pick up these little starfish on Amazon. You can get them in like this ivory color and in blue. I have them both linked in my Amazon shop. They're really cute. You get a bunch of different sizes to choose from usually. And I'm just going to add one up there and then some seashells since it is kind of the bottom of the ocean kind of feel. I thought seashells would look nice, so I just want to work some of those in and kind of bury them a little bit too. This one I attached to the succulent, so it looks like it's kind of crawling on there. It kind of looks like a snail. And then another shell here at the bottom. For the skeleton, I noticed that he really didn't have any shading, so I'm just kind of going to give him a little bit of definition with a black Sharpie here in his eyes and nose, just to make him look a little bit all not the same color and a little bit creepier. But I absolutely love how this turned out. I think it looks so like coastal under the sea theme. The front of it is like this unfinished wood for some reason, even though the rest of it is kind of a nice wood. And so I'm just going to use some twine all the way around and just kind of do that as a border. This is that thicker twine. It's a little bit thicker than the Dollar Tree twine. This one is available in that big roll from Walmart, and it worked perfectly. I'm also going to do the shelf as well. And that's just another little coastal touch that I gave to this little coffin DIY. Pretty cute, and I just love how you can make coastal and Halloween go together. This was just kind of seamless. And definitely creepy too, even though there are sea creatures and stuff like that. Isn't that so fun? I displayed mine with like a fishing net down below. Now, to continue with like the sea witch theme, I'm going to use one of the Dollar Tree witch's hat wreath forms, and we're going to make it's kind of a giant sea witch hat. It turned out really cool. For the brim of the hat, I'm just using Dollar Tree brown rope. I just started at one end of the brim, hot glued it, and just started wrapping it around. Once you get to like a crossbar area, you can kind of just skip that and continue just wrapping it. I kind of bent it more in the middle, so it was kind of flatter across. You can kind of see the way it bows a little bit. I already used one package of the rope, so I switched it up here for another package, which took me almost all the way to the end. This is kind of the thicker rope, so not quite as much on there as some of the thinner ones. And then for the top of the sea witch hat, I'm actually using burlap. You could use like the big pieces of burlap from the Dollar Tree. I had this burlap roll that I actually got at Walmart, and so I'm going to use that. It's not wide enough to cover the witch hat, but I think that I can piece it together and kind of make it a little bit more seamless. I just glue it to the rope, and then put glue along the seam where I can wrap that around the very edge of the witch's hat. I always pick up a lot of these witch hat wreath forms, and I need to make some more of these. They turn out really good. As you can see, we have the blue mat. This is a DIY that I did on my channel a couple of years ago, back when I had the blue mat, so that's why it is a different color. I cut the seam off a second piece of burlap, and I'm doing the same thing. I attach it to the rope, and then I am going to overlap it slightly and then glue here to the outer edge of the wreath form here. The burlap and the rope will go well together, and it avoids having to use all that rope to cover the whole thing, which was what I think I was originally going to do, but I really love the way the burlap turned out on this. Once I have it on there, I just cut off the excess burlap. And as you can see, the burlap kind of slightly overlaps there because I was using the roll. So if you had a larger piece, you wouldn't have to worry about that. But it's not super noticeable in the end. And so that looks pretty good. I thought that I could still kind of outline it with a rope though, since I did the brim of the hat with it. And so I'm going to go along this outer edge and hot glue rope, just going straight up. So not wrapping it, just kind of outlining it with it. And that's going to tie it back together with the way that I did the brim of the hat. And I think anytime you can use like rope in a DIY, especially like a seasonal DIY like this, it's going to really give it that coastal touch. So I just went all the way up with one piece of rope, coming back down. And that looks really cute. Now, I did think that you could kind of see the wire wreath forms a little bit through here. So I cut down some more of the burlap, and I just cut some small pieces to go behind that bar. You probably couldn't see it too much, but I didn't want you to be able to see through it. So I just went ahead and glued that to each one, kind of just doubling up the fabric, but really only in those spots there where you could see the bar through it. And I do that all the way up to the top. Now for the hair for our sea witch, I'm going to use a Dollar Tree grass skirt, a great source of raffia. And I just cut down a piece that's going to be about the same width as the witch's hat there. And I think it's going to make great sea witch hair. You can kind of push it back and forth to make sure everything is kind of like evenly spaced. And then I just hot glue it here to the back of my wreath form where I had wrapped it with rope. And it's going to be the perfect hair. You can do however long you want. They have like the child size skirt or the adult size. I think I used the adult size on this one because it actually turned out pretty long. Now, since it is a sea witch, I want to give it some coastal decor. I'm going to add a Dollar Tree sand dollar right here on the brim of the hat. And I really wanted to decorate it, make it look super coastal. So I do add some more items as well. For the hanger, I just do a little bit of twine here, and I'm going to attach it here at the tip, just with a little bit of hot glue to easily hang that. And then I broke out some seashells for my seashell collection, kind of a variety. I wanted like different kinds of shells, and I'm just going to glue that to the rope and the burlap there, just decorating the entire top of her hat. And I love the idea of like a sea witch or a sea mermaid or anything like that. I think it's just really fun for coastal Halloween. I decorated it all the way across. It is looking super beachy. I love it. I thought I'd even pop in a little bit of color with one more seashell. And this is how it turned out. Our little sea witch wreath. This would look great hanging on your wall or your front door. And look how cute the grass skirt looks for witch hair. I have it displayed here with one of my sand pumpkins that I've made. They're really cute. Hey guys, have you checked out my website yet? It's craftybeach.net. I'm archiving all my DIYs over there. You'll be able to find photos that you can pin on Pinterest and links to my YouTube videos as well, craftybeach.net. For the next DIY, I picked up this cute little spider sign from the Dollar Tree. It's like a spider on a spider web. And I'm actually going to replace the cute little spider that was on it. Try to make it look like a coastal spider web if I can. I like the shape of it. I think it's going to be perfect. I am going to decorate the other side of it though. So I don't want to have this on the back. I think it's going to look kind of bad. So I just cover it with some contact paper just to make the back of it look a little bit better. It is kind of an odd shape. Normally I would just sand this, but it was actually easier to cut the excess contact paper to get that shape. But this is going to be the perfect to make a spider web. And I want to use one of those big fuzzy spiders from the Dollar Tree to decorate this one. So the back looks way better, and now we can paint the front of it. I mixed a couple colors together. I think this was agave chalk paint. I was just going for a beachy blue, so I lined it with some ivory and going all over the back of our spiderweb sign. I do want it to be a hanging sign, so I'm okay with the hole that's in the top of the sign. And then I'm just going to draw the spiderweb back on with a paint pen. So just kind of connecting the points. Your lines definitely don't have to be straight for this because the spider web's not going to be perfect or anything like that. And just kind of going over it to make sure they're nice and bright. And then it's just a matter of connecting the webs. I go around the outer side here and leaving a little bit of blue on the outside edge of that. And then I want to give it like a little bit of an outline here too. So I switched to some ivory paint and I'm just going to kind of fill in that outer edge. It's just going to make it pop, give it a little spider web border here. And I love painting things like a beachy blue like this. I think it looks really coastal and cool. I really liked how that looked, so I decided to continue that on with the ivory paint, make it a little bit bolder because my paint pen wasn't quite up to the task. And I just fill in all of those lines with that. And then I also use that to connect the different sections, kind of arching each one. It's not a big spiderweb sign, so it's not going to need like a lot of rows. I just needed it to kind of look like it did on the original sign. Since I was going for Coastal Farmhouse, of course I give it a little bit of distress with ivory all over, dry brushing it just to give it a little bit of that Coastal Farmhouse vibe. The blue definitely helps with that. Now I can go ahead and replace the hanger that was on there before, and then I just want to add a few more touches to make this really fun for Halloween. The first one is the fuzzy spider. Now, I think they do have these in different colors. I could only find them in black, and I really wanted my fuzzy spider to be brown. So I wanted to see if I could kind of paint it. So I'm going over it with like this more like warm brown chalk paint color. And it kind of soaked into that furry spider, which kind of cool. It kind of made it look even creepier because it makes it look like it's like, you know, more realistic, like it's more than one color. And then kind of going in some of the smaller parts that I couldn't get to with the foam brush with a tinier brush that seemed to work a little bit better. And it did kind of soak in. It didn't really give me a light brown spider, but it kind of gave me a brownish black spider. But I kind of liked that a little bit more. Now, in case you can see underneath of it, I decided to go ahead and paint the underside as well. Just to make it look a little bit better. So you can paint those. So if you can't get one the color that you want, they have some really big ones this year. I'm going to add some hot glue to his little spider belly here and put him back on the web. Maybe like right over here, like he's climbing on it. And I think it looks so cool. Definitely an upgrade from how it looked before. And then I also wanted to add like a sign or something that said something. And Dollar Tree does have like little metal words. And I was trying to figure out which one to use. This one says spooky. This one says beware. I think that might be even better for a spider. And so I'm going to use that to attach it. I thought the galvanized metal, it wasn't real easy to see though. So I'm going to give it a distress. So I go over it with some Antique Wax by Waverly, kind of giving it like a faux wood grain to kind of make it go a little bit better with my brown spider. I decided it still wasn't bright enough, and so I go over it with some ivory first, and then I go back with the Antique Wax by Waverly and distress it again, and that gave me more of the wood tone that I was kind of looking for with that. So you definitely can paint those, and you can definitely get a different look. When you distress it horizontally like this with your brush strokes, it gives it that faux wood grain and everything. And so I'm just going to attach that to our spider web sign here on top. Really easy to do. Just painting the back of the sign, painting a spider, and adding a little sign. And it definitely goes with the coastal farmhouse vibe and colors. And again, you can do yours in any color that would work well for your decor. And how creepy does that spider look? I'm so scared of spiders, and he definitely looks like he's going to be poisonous, and he's going to try to end me. This is how he turned out. I think he's really fun. Now for the next DIY, I'm going to remake one of the little tinsel ghosts from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut all the tinsel off of him, and it's going to give me a perfect cage to make a little coastal ghost. I'm going to use some of that nautical white rope that you see there from the Dollar Tree to wrap him instead of the tinsel, and he's going to look so much more high-end than he did with this tinsel. I don't like this stuff. It kind of reminds me of the 70s. And so I just go ahead and remove all that. It does make a little bit of a mess. Be warned when you do that. And then I'm also going to cut the arms off the ghost. The reason that I'm doing that is because I'm going to wrap it with rope, and I thought I could wrap the body with rope easier if the arms were not attached, and then I can always reattach those later instead of having to try to work around them at the beginning. Now they do have the tabs on there. You could leave them on there. I decided to cut mine off with some heavy duty scissors just because I thought they might get in the way. And so that's just what I did on these. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't when I remake these little tinsel signs, but this one I did cut them all off. And this is the rope that I'm using. It is kind of the thinner one, kind of the longer one. And I'm going to simply wrap the body of the ghost. So I attach it with a little hot glue down here at the little ghost tail and just wrap it. Now, be warned, you are going to use a lot of rope if you wrap it all the way around, kind of like I did it, because this is going to give it a finished back and a finished front. But I thought it was probably the easiest way to cover it with rope. You could always cover it with different kinds of fabric as well. You could do kind of white fabric with like a creepy cloth on top, and like that ivory color would be cute. You could also do like some fish netting, would be coastal as well. But I really love remaking things with Dollar Tree rope. I think it turns out so good, and their white nautical rope just looks really good. So I'm just making sure that when I run out of rope, I do my start and stop here on the back of the ghost where you're not going to be able to see it, and attach it with hot glue, starting a new one. So this is my third package here of the white rope for the this ghost. When I get here to the top, it gets a little bit tricky because it wants to slide off a little bit. So I just add hot glue to the plastic cage as needed until I can get all the way here to the top, and then kind of hot glue it to itself up here to hide all of the plastic that was underneath. And I'm always picking up these tinsel signs and different things from the Dollar Tree because they're so fun to remake. For the little ghost arm, I'm going to go ahead and glue it back on, just kind of working it in between the different layers of rope. I was kind of glad I detached that. I did think it made it easier, and it was really easy to put them back on. And now I can wrap them as well. They're kind of a perfect shape to wrap here now too. So I just start by attaching it to the back and then just wrapping it back and forth until I get all the way to the end of the ghost arm here. And again, it gets a little trickier at the end where you have to kind of glue it to the plastic cage and get it completely covered and then cut off the excess rope. Really cute. I don't really mind that the rope is going a different direction. I did add a little piece of rope for stability there, just to make sure that my little ghost arm stayed on. And then I went ahead and did the same thing here on the other side, and attaching it with hot glue towards the end. Really cute. He was really easy to make, and I think he looks so much better. I did want to kind of make a hanger with him, and so I did it actually with a ruler. And I'm just going to attach the hanger to that. And you might be better off by, before you get the top of your ghost completed up at the top there with the rope, but working in a hanger there, I kind of forgot. And so this was kind of a last minute hanger because I did want to hang it. And so I just attached that with hot glue to the back of my ghost sign. And then for the eyes and the mouth for our ghost, I thought, what could be more coastal than seashells? So I picked out two for the eyes, one for the mouth that was a little bit bigger. And then I just painted them black with some black chalk paint. Just like that, super cute, definitely coastal. And I'm just going to hot glue those on the rope. I guess you could leave the natural colors as well, but more traditionally, like the ghost eyes are going to be black and like the mouth as well. And that's when I realized that my hanger didn't work too well. And so I did a little bit of a hack here to the back. I would suggest attaching it to the top of his head, not to his back like I did. But this is how he turned out, our little rope ghost. Super cute, definitely easy to do, and I love the fun seashells attached as well. I don't know why this picture of him is kind of blurry, but you can kind of see how he turned out. Pretty cute. Now for the next DIY, we're going to be doing another one of the skeleton mermaids from the Dollar Tree. I wanted to make this one look like a dead skeleton mermaid on the bottom of the seafloor. So I'm going to actually thrift flip this sign that I got at Goodwill. It's made out of a nice solid wood, and I'm going to use it like, upside down to kind of make a shadow box. So I want to cover the back of it instead of painting it. I just did that with some contact paper just to make it easier, and the little skeleton mermaid fits perfectly inside. If you're not lucky enough to find a skeleton mermaid, I think this would be really cute if you did it with one of the little skeletons as well. Now, this frame is black. You could leave it like that, but I wanted it to look coastal, so I went over mine with like some agave chalk paint and went around all the outer edges. Again, we're going to be doing it like a shadow box, and I'm going to display it kind of on its side, but I did want it to be bordered out in blue. And I love how this turned out. This was one of my son's favorite Halloween projects. He absolutely loved this, and he gave me lots of really great ideas for what I was putting it together. So that looks pretty good, and here is our little skeleton mermaid. I was trying to figure out which way I wanted her to lay in there. This little sign that I found is just the right size for her. And I like the fact that it has edges, so I'll be able to stuff it with some creepy items. I got some Spanish moss, some reindeer moss from Dollar Tree, and some dollar spot creepy florals that I thought would look good in there. And on this one, I'm not going to paint it, but I am going to spray it. So I sprayed it with a matte sealer to kind of give it a rougher texture. And I do like how it turned out. It took away a lot of that plastic feel. See how it's not shiny anymore? So that was a good resolution for that without painting it. And then I'm taking some creepy Spanish moss and reindeer moss and like kind of filling this in. I want it to be like two different colors, so I think that looks cool. And I want it to look like the seabed, kind of like seaweed in there, right? So I did like the left top corner and the reindeer moss, and I've been having a hard time finding reindeer moss and Spanish moss at my Dollar Tree stores. I actually had to buy it at Walmart the other day, which made me mad. And so I really hope they get it back in stock because I love crafting with it. It turns out so cool. So that already looks like kind of coastal, right? And then I found these were like a good find at Target Dollar Spot. I thought they looked kind of creepy. I liked the colors, and they could look like little underwater dead flowers almost. So I just kind of scattered those around in my reindeer moss. And then I'm going to actually use some items I found from the beach. So this is like just some pieces of coral. I thought that would look cool in there. I'm going to kind of piece those together like little rocks here for the bottom of the ocean. And then kind of attach the plants like right around that. That looks really cool. They almost look like anemones on there. And then I have some little seaweed here that I had from the beach. Really cute. I'm going to do that kind of a transition between the two different kinds of moss. Just kind of whatever I could find that would make it look like the ocean seafloor. Now for her hair, I'm going to use a little bit of raffia. So I gather a bundle and I'm going to attach that to the top of her head. I put a little hot glue on her scalp and just kind of glue the bundle on where it comes down to the sides like that. Just because I thought it would, solidify the mermaid thing if she had hair, and it looks creepy and kind of dead as well. And I just hot glue that and give her a little haircut as well. I glued her down now too because I decided exactly where I wanted her to be. And I wish she was a little bit more posable. If you're using one of the ones from Spirit Halloween, you could, pose her a little bit better, but not too bad. Then I added seashells from my stash kind of all over to give that sea floor look. And I love it. I think it's looking so cool. Let me show you how she turned out. Isn't it so creepy? Our little skeleton mermaid. A really fun use for these if you can find one of these. But again, even if you did this with like a regular skeleton, you could still make it look like the seafloor like this, and it would look super creepy. And I love all the corals and shells and stuff as well. A really fun DIY. I love that one. I'm surprised my son has not asked for that one yet. Hey guys, I would love to see your DIYs. We have a private Facebook group. I always have it linked in the description of the videos. If you join, you can share your DIYs there and see what everyone else has been crafting. Okay, for the next DIY, I'm going to use some of the Dollar Tree wood skeletons. And you're also going to need some long board signs. I just used whatever Halloween signs they have. If you use some of the plain ones from Dollar Tree, it's going to be a little bit easier for you. But when I made this DIY a couple of years ago, they didn't have the plain long signs. So they are definitely a great find. I wanted to do coastal colors on this and kind of make a set of 3 signs to hang together. So these two are the same size, so that is handy. And they have glitter, letters, all that kind of stuff on them. Just going to cover it up by, again, using some of that cheap contact paper from the Dollar Tree, just so that my projects will have a finished back, even though I'm going to craft on the back of that sign. I'm so glad that they've decided to make plain signs for us crafters. Definitely makes our job easier, because this was definitely a little bit more work when we used to have to always DIY on the back of these signs. So I'm going to do the same thing for this sign. I want these two to be exactly the same. These are going to be our skeleton signs. And I never really know what to do with those wooden skeletons, but it actually turned out pretty cool. Now for this last sign, I was able to get the paper off of it, which made it a little bit easier without having to cover the back of it. So that one actually came off pretty well, but that's actually kind of rare. So I want to paint them different colors. I want them to be beachy blue, but also ivory. For this one, I'm doing the ivory and just painting all over the sign. These like Dollar Tree rollers that they have at the Dollar Tree are really good value, because you get the tray, the roller, and everything. Sometimes I think you even get like a paintbrush and some gloves in there as well. And I did this one ivory as well, until I had good coverage on both of those. Now for the middle sign, I want it to be beachy blue. I'm using agave. And again, I'm using the rollers just because they're such big signs. I thought it would be a little bit easier to get a smooth coat on there. Now this one's going to be like the hand painted part of the sign. And then I want to make my skeletons a beachy blue as well. These are the wood skeletons I was talking about. Sometimes these things from Dollar Tree are broken, like this guy, but it's okay. I was still able to use him. Just scared me there for a little bit. Now I want to paint these all that beachy blue color too. And so again, I'm using agave. I was trying to determine if I should paint them with the little rings on there or without, and I decided to take the little rings off. It's going to make everything so much easier. And we're going to be attaching these to signs anyway, so not going to need most of the rings anyway. So we're going to have a pile of bones here in a minute once I get all of the rings taking off all of these, and it's going to make it so much easier to paint. So I'm just going to lay out all my bones, try to remember where everything goes, and paint everything blue. And I used my rollers for this too, which made it a lot faster. They look so cute in blue. I'm going to do this part of the skeleton as well, the ribs and the hips. And we're going to do his and her skeletons, and I have a really fun idea for the sign in the middle. So I'm going to kind of lay these out on the Dollar Tree long signs. I love the blue skeleton against the white. Kind of surprising, but cute. I'm going to do both of them at the same time so I can line them up perfectly And again, the one had a broken jaw. I just glued it on anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then glue like my leg bones in place. I think I like them better without the rings. And so I just kind of glue them on as needed. I want my arms to kind of hang off the side a little bit though, so I did have to use the rings for the elbows. And that's just kind of functional to keep it together. I have that one like with its hands on the hips. So this one I thought could be doing something fun too. You can make it kind of dance. I'm going to have this one like with its hands in the air like that. And again, just using the rings for the elbow pieces. Super cute. Since I was going for a coastal farmhouse vibe, I did distress my blue with a little bit of ivory to give it that coastal feel and a little bit of charm. And I did that on both of the longboard skeletons. They're looking so cute. I'm going to go ahead and replace the hangers. You do have to kind of poke a hole through that if you do finish the back of yours like that. But again, I highly recommend the Dollar Tree longboard blanks. Usually pretty easy to find at Dollar Tree. Now for the blue sign, I measured it and I designed a stencil. I wish I still had the file. I don't, but I do have the fonts that I used to make this, so you could recreate. First, I distressed it, and then I used some of my stencil vinyl for my Cricut. I get this on Amazon. It works really well, even on freshly painted signs. And I cut out this fun file. So it's going to say, till death do us part. For the word till, the font that I used was DTC Black Widow on Cricut Design Space. So it has these spider webs. I thought that was really cool. And then the word death I had got in a coffin. And this was actually just a image file that was available on Cricut Design Space. For do us, I used DTC Cozy. And for the word part, I used DTC Sahara Smooth. So that is how I set that up. I had them all cut out on one piece of stencil vinyl, which is going to make this so much easier. And I love to use this paper transfer paper. I get this on Amazon as well. Both of these are available in my Amazon shop, linked in the description of this video. They work great to hand paint a sign like this. I just removed my transfer paper and I just want to make sure that everything is down with very little wrinkling and kind of tape it in place as well. Since I have the ivory and the roller, I thought that would be the easiest way to paint this. I just roll over the stencil vinyl like that, trying to make sure that I got all of the letters painted ivory. I let that dry and go over it with another coat kind of right away so I could get that more bold color popping against that blue sign. So let's remove our stencils and see how it did. Really fun. My husband got a kick out of this, till death do us part. I told him it was like his and her, you know, him and me, till death do us part. And then I just go in and weed out the rest of my stencil. A little tricky here in the spider web, but I think that's such a cool effect. And then the little death here in the coffin is a fun effect as well. And that looks really good. So I kind of distress it with a little bit of that original blue just to kind of give it that coastal farmhouse distressing that I did on the rest of the project. This sign is going to hang in between the two skeleton signs as a set. And it actually made a nice, really nice piece of art for my wall. It really covered up a lot of area. And then for the girl one, I decided to add a bow to make her look like a girl. I actually got this little bow at Dollar Tree. No, actually at Walmart on clearance. I'm just going to cut off the little tails on it to make it look like a hair bow. It was blue already. And I hot glued that to the skull to make her look like a girl. And of course, that's me because I'm like the one over there dancing, right? Partying. But this is what they look like together. I think the saying is really fun to go with the skeleton theme and a little surprising to have blue skeletons. I guess not in my house because I love blue. But it turned out, I think, really cute. Now for the next DIY, I'm going to do another kind of coastal spider DIY. For the back sign, I'm actually using one of these Dollar Tree chalkboards. I love to craft with these because they don't bow like a lot of Dollar Tree signs and they make great blanks, especially if you use the back of them. The only tricky part is getting that sticky sticker off the back of it. So using a little glue gun on that. But I wanted to make a fun spider sign with this one. Again, I don't want that chalkboard to be on the back of my sign since I'm using the back of it. So I'm just going to cover it with some Dollar Tree contact paper. Definitely the easiest way to mask the back of your DIY if you don't want it to look all crazy like that. Makes it look a little bit better. And you can cut the piece a little bit bigger, use a sanding sponge to sand that off and give you a perfect little cut. Now I want this one to look beachy. I'm using that agave color again, mixed with some ivory to give me a light blue, beachy blue color. And since this is chalk paint, it should do a pretty good job covering that black color of the chalkboard. And so I'm just going to go ahead and do a couple of coats until I get good coverage. This is going to be the background to a wood sign from the Dollar Tree that is like a spider sign as well. For the coastal farmhouse vibe, I do a little bit of dry brushing with some ivory to give that coastal farmhouse look. But be careful if you go over it with a baby wipe. As you can see, it took off some of my paint. So I had to go back in with my original color and distress it a little bit more. So be careful with that when you're distressing something like this that's not like wood. Otherwise, it probably wouldn't have done that. I'm going to go ahead and reattach the hanger kind of by stringing it through the back and just tying it here on the front. This is the wood spider sign that I was talking about. It's got a cool little frame and a web and a spider hanging down. I thought it would look really cool if we kind of stain this. So since this is going to be like a frame, I thought it would look good for wood stain. So I'm using Antique Wax by Waverly and just going around this ornate frame on it first. Just because it's all one like this doesn't mean you have to paint all of it the same color. And I thought this would look good on top of that blue sign that we did. Now for the spider, I do want it to look like wood too, for like a brown scary spider. So I stained that part as well, just wiping off the excess Antique Wax by Waverly with a paper towel. Now for the spider web, I wanted that to be white. So I'm just using some ivory and a small brush and going in and making that white. That's going to pop against that blue sign, but you're going to have all that warmness of the brown stained wood for the spider and for the frame. And I thought that provided a nice contrast. So just trying to get that, a solid white color and kind of clean up any of the stain that made its way onto the web. I love that coastal farmhouse vibe, so I do a little distressing even on the stained wood to give it that weathered look with a dry brush, and I always wipe off with a baby wipe. Gives you a great texture. I love distressing projects. And I want to add a word too, so I picked up some Dollar Tree wood letters, and I want to spell out the word eek. I've been having trouble finding these lately at my Dollar Trees too. I find the numbers a lot, but I haven't been finding the letters very often. I hope they get them back because I love crafting with them. I do have quite a bit of them, I think, stockpiled, but probably not the letters that I want. I'm just going to use some hot glue on the back of the web sign and put it against that blue sign. It looks so pretty like that. I do move it towards the top, so I have room for a word down here at the bottom with our letters. And I'm going to just spell out eek over here in the corner. I thought that would be a fun little saying to go with this spider DIY. And just attaching that with hot glue. Really cute, easy to do, and I love the colors. So don't be afraid to use those little wood signs from the Halloween aisle. You can do some really cute things with them. Just with a little bit of paint, kind of layering some signs together. And I think this is really cute for Halloween, and it's also pretty stylish. Who knew that a spider sign could actually be pretty like that? Now for the next DIY, I'm going to remake one of the tinsel cats from the Dollar Tree. I think this is from like the Day of the Dead section, but it doesn't really matter. It's in with the Halloween stuff. And it's basically a process of just trying to get all the paper and the tinsel off of this one, because it also has the cardboard pieces as well. So a lot of times it's just easier to kind of cut down it and then kind of pull it off the sides. I was going to remake this black cat into a coastal black cat for Halloween for my coffee bar. This was before I had my huge coffee bar that I have in my house that I DIY'd, and I just had a tiny shelf on the wall at that time. So it's not going to be a lot of Halloween DIYs, but they turned out really cute, so I wanted to show you. So I'm going to make my black cat out of Dollar Tree rope. This is just the brown rope, but I'm going to paint it to make it a black cat. And the rope actually painted pretty well. So I just started at the bottom of my cat like this, and I am wrapping it just all the way around. So it is going to require a lot of the brown rope. If you were just going to do the front of it, it wouldn't take as much, but you're going to not get that cool wrapped pattern like this. And I wanted the back of my cat to be pretty as well, because you might be able to see the sides of it on the coffee bar. But so I just made sure all of my seams, though, were on the back when I start and stop. And it's a pretty simple body plan on this one. Now, when I got to the head, it was a little trickier. And I decided to start in the center and glue it right there to the plastic cage and then kind of spiral it to get that oval shape, which was cool for the front. But again, it made the back not look as cool as the front. But we're going to work around that, kind of piece it together here. I did a couple rounds around the neck there. And then I kind of can wrap the ears, just kind of like I wrap everything else. I almost have enough to finish here. I ran out, of course, right there at the tip of the ear, but I was able to go back and add a little bit more. And then I also added a little bit of twine here to kind of keep everything together. Now it's time for the painting. I tried to just test it on the back to see how well it was going to paint, and it did really well. So I'm using black chalk paint. You could probably use acrylic as well, but I'm using a brush so I can kind of get down in the fibers. And as you can see, the cat already looks really woven and cool with that rope, and painted it, actually, I think it looks even better. So I just kind of go all over, making sure I get the sides as well, because you might be able to see that. And then I want to stand it up, so I'm going to kind of make a stand. Out of a Dollar Tree bamboo cutting board and a ruler is my plan here. So I was trying to think how I could do this. So I'm trying to find the center of my sign right here. And I want to be able to attach the ruler to it like that, kind of like feeding it up through the back. I didn't really like that you could see in the back of my cat's head there. So I decided to kind of cover the back of it with some burlap just to make it look better back here. And hide the ruler as well. So I thought it would help keep everything together too. I just did the entire back. And especially back here behind the little kitty's head. I love this DIY. I made this several years ago on my channel, and I still display it every year. It's so cute. Now, I tried to drill out a little section here. I didn't really have any high-tech tools for this, so I just drilled out a little groove there for my ruler to help the stability of this for standing this up. I used a little combination of wood glue and hot glue and put my ruler on there, and it kind of worked. It wasn't as stable as I would like. It might be better off leaning this against something, but I really wanted it to be a stand, so I decided I was going to try to make this work. While my glue was setting up, I add more hot glue around the edges, but then I decided I needed to add a wood block here to the back just to make it a little bit more stable. This is one of those wood Jenga blocks from Five Below. You're not going to be able to see it back here. I just attach it with hot glue and glue it to the cat itself, and that really was a lot better than the groove that I made there for my ruler. Now, I want this black cat to look like it's at the beach because we're doing coastal Halloween, right? So I put school glue down all over the bamboo cutting board, and I'm going to cover that up with some Dollar Tree sand. I only had some of the white sand instead of the tan sand, but we can have a white sand beach. That's totally fine. And school glue works really well for sand projects like that. Adding a little bit more to add some more here to the front to make it a little bit deeper. I also want to add some pumpkins and some fun things down there as well. To glue it from the top, I use a little bit of the spray glue from the Dollar Tree, the little aerosol spray glue on top. Makes it a little bit easier for sand projects like this. And I cover the back of it as well. All sandy and really cool. And the pumpkins, I wanted some blue ones. So I found this little velvet pumpkin pick from Dollar Tree that had little blue pumpkins on it. So I thought that could be beachy and cool by adding some of those to my little cat sign here for my coffee bar. I could also add some seashells and stuff down on the beach as well. I'm just going to attach those with hot glue, making sure I get it down all the way to the bamboo cutting board. You don't want to glue just directly to the sand. You're going to want to push them down in there a little bit to make sure they have contact. And I like the blue pumpkins, but I thought they were a little too bright. So I'm going to distress them with some ivory just to lighten them up a little bit. And I actually liked them better like that. If it's the wrong color, just paint it, right? So I have a couple different sizes here, and I think that looks good. I can stack 2 of them over here. Seashells on one side, pumpkins on the other. Now, I thought I was done. I showed it to my son. He loved it, but he's like, that cat does not have a tail. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. I'm like, it needs a tail. So I'm going to make a tail. This is that thicker floral wire from the Dollar Tree. I like the fact that this one's thick. I thought it would help it keep its shape. And as you can see, I just made it look like a cat tail by kind of doubling it up and making it go off to the side. Since the rest of the black cat is made out of rope, I'm also going to use rope to build my tail. I'm so glad he told me this cat needed a tail because he was absolutely right. It needed a tail and it made it so cute. So I just wrap the wire, trying not to make it too skinny. I kind of want it to be like an even width all the way till I get to the bottom. And since it's got the wire in there, I can always reshape it, curve it like a cattail would be. And trying to clean up any of the excess hot glue there, because you kind of have to glue it to itself as well and burn off any fuzzies. Now we can paint this rope black as well to go with the rest of the black cat. I just go ahead and paint the front and the back because it's going to be kind of sticking off to the side. So now I just have to kind of figure out a way to attach it. I use some hot glue and kind of glue it here to the side on the back where it kind of peeks out from the side of the cat. And I wanted a lot of overlap contact there so I'd have something to glue it to since I don't really have any structure from below on the tail. But this is how it turned out, my little rope black cat for my coffee bar. And I will show you how that coffee bar turned out too, but I wanted to show you the black cat first because I think it is so cool. I'm sure I have some cat lovers out there that would love to remake one of these little tinsel signs from the Dollar Tree. Isn't it so cute? I love the woven texture of it. Now, continuing on with the black cat theme for my coffee bar, I'm going to use one of the wooden black cats from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to layer that on another sign. This is just a sign that I found at Target Dollar Spot, just a square blank sign for the background. And then I want to kind of DIY this guy. I wanted to see if I could get the pumpkin off of this to kind of take away that little jack-o'-lantern face. And so just using my heat gun, trying to wedge that off. Sometimes you can get them off pretty good. Sometimes they kind of get tore up a little bit. You definitely have to be careful if you try to take some of these Dollar Tree signs apart. I probably could have done it without taking it apart, but I was trying to make it a little bit harder, I think. Because it is hard enough to get that off, and you don't really want to mess up your cat. I'm just going to have that be the back so it doesn't matter too much. I'm going to use a little bit of nail patch filler, wood filler there for the holes in my hanging sign because I don't want my cat to have some holes in it before I start painting it. And we're going to paint it black with some ink colored chalk paint for our little black cat. I've got some fun ideas to kind of make this little black cat coastal as well, which is really cute. Isn't he so cute? They seem to have him every year at Dollar Tree. I always see him at the Dollar Tree. I love his posture. I think it looks really cool. Now for the little pumpkin, I want to keep that part. I did kind of mess it up a little bit by pulling that jack-o'-lantern off of it and taking it apart, but I was able to patch that pretty well where I could fill it in. I want the little pumpkin to look coastal and less like a jack-o'-lantern, so I just painted mine with the agave to give me that beachy blue color. This used to be my favorite color. It's cloudless nowadays, but any kind of blue I'm happy with. I'm going to do a couple little lines on there for the pumpkin. And I want to kind of distress everything just to give it that coastal farmhouse vibe. I'm even going to distress my black cat, which is a little surprising. I just kind of really wanted to concentrate on the edges and stuff, give it a little bit more character. And again, be pretty quick there with the baby wipe and go back with the original color. Kind of distress back and forth until you get it exactly the way you want it. Some of you guys love distressing just like I do. Some of you guys don't. So whatever is your vibe. And then I'm just going to use some of these little wooden dominoes just for a little spacer that I'm going to use for the eye color. So that's why I painted that one blue as well. And then the sides of the sign were a little plain, so I'm just going to give them a coastal feel with some Dollar Tree brown rope by framing it out. I can just hot glue that around all four sides. Even around the hanger, there was plenty of room on the sign. It was pretty thick. And I want to use like the wood front of it, like that light wood color. I think that looks cool. I don't have to do anything to it. Dollar Spot at Target used to have more signs like this. I seem to have trouble finding them there anymore. But Dollar Tree has some really great blanks too that you could use for this. But anytime you layer the signs like this, you're going to get just a more substantial sign. This is what I was talking about with the blue behind the eyes to make our black cat have blue eyes. I thought that would be cute. And since there's cutouts there, you can see through. I want to make sure that you don't see any of that from the nose or the side. So I do cut it down a little bit, and I'm just going to attach it with some hot glue here on the back. You could always paint the sign behind it too. That would work as well to kind of shine through for a different color of eye if you want to give it colored eyes like I did. And then I'm going to use a few more of those as spacers so it'll all be level and use that to attach that to the sign. And those are just wooden dominoes from Dollar Tree. It makes it stick out a little bit, so that's kind of a cool effect. I'm going to go ahead and attach my pumpkin here too. I'm going to use like a little wooden spacer for it too. I want the pumpkin to look coastal for coastal fall. So I wrap the little pumpkin stem in some twine to give it a little coastal look there. And I'm going to decorate it too to kind of make it look like a coastal pumpkin. I'm going to have it be right there in front of the cat's leg. I'm just going to leave off that jack-o'-lantern part that came with it originally. So I just use my spacer, glue my pumpkin on here. So here's our pumpkin and our black cat. This is going to be hanging on the wall above my shelf at my coffee bar. And then I wanted to give it some coastal touches with like using some seashells from my collection. They also have like these little craft board creatures that are sea creatures that you could use as well. And I'm going to attach a little seashell here for my coastal pumpkin. I've also got room to do some seashells on the side of my cat as well. This is a little dolphin I picked out to go here on my pumpkin for decoration instead of the little jack-o'-lantern. Super coastal and cute. And then add some seashells like right over here with some more hot glue. I always have a stash of seashells, a rather big one. I'm better about not bringing them home from the beach because I know that I have thousands of them and I really need to use some self-control. Annabelle gets me in trouble though. I am going to tie off a little bow here to go on my pumpkin too, just for decoration, just by tying some twine into a little bow and attaching it. Now, I had left the hanger on there, but then I decided I wanted a little bit more fuss with it. So I'm actually going to use some Dollar Tree wood bead garland to make a beaded hanger. You can kind of get the same look. A lot of Dollar Tree signs already have the wood bead hangers on there. And I usually don't like it, but I really kind of wanted wood beads on this one. Just going to add a little bit more decor here to the top. There's already hangers on there, so it's just a matter of stringing the wood bead garland to it and tying it off. And I think it is looking really cute. I decided to add a little bit more color to my pumpkin by kind of redoing the lines a little bit here with a little bit more white and just kind of giving it a little bit more texture. I think that looks better. I even distressed the little dolphin that was on there to give that coastal farmhouse vibe, but I love the black cat. I think it's going to look so cute there with the black robe cat that we made. Super cute, using a Dollar Tree sign and a Target Dollar Spot sign. And of course, some little coastal elements. Any of these Halloween DIYs today, though, you can make super cute, even if you decide to do yours not coastal. But I had a lot of fun putting these together for the coffee bar. Now for the next sign for the coffee bar, I'm going to use another Dollar Spot sign. This is one that has like the little slide-in signs from the Target Dollar Spot. And I thought I could make a really cute little black cat sign with this. Kind of using some vinyl to make my own sign. Now, these were already Halloween signs, so they already had the paint on there. I was just trying to remove the paint with some fingernail polish remover. Sometimes that can be successful. Sometimes it requires like a lot of elbow grease. I decided to give up on mine and just paint it. I thought that would be easier. Whenever you have white writing on black, it's always easier to go over the paint with a little bit of white first to kind of cancel out the writing and then go back with black. So I just wanted the wood frame, a black sign, and then I used my Cricut vinyl in white. I cut it out using the font DTC Cozy to spell out Black Cat Coffee Company. And the cat is just something I picked out of Cricut Design Space right there in the middle. And I'm just going to add that white vinyl to that black sign for a cute little coffee bar sign that's going to go with the black cat theme. This is my paper transfer paper that I love. And it doesn't need to be a hanging sign, so I just remove the hangers from the top, slide in the little black sign, and attach my vinyl. So easy. I wish they had some blanks like this at Dollar Tree, because this was such an easy DIY to do with just a little bit of Cricut vinyl. Just smoothing that out, making sure all my vinyl is laying flat, and how cute is that? It was so easy to do. And now it's actually kind of a two-sided sign because it has like the Halloween sign on the back. I don't want mine to tip over though, so I do glue a little wooden Jenga block here to the back just to make it stand up a little bit better, so it doesn't tip over on my coffee bar shelf. This is how it turned out. Super cute. You could kind of recreate this just on any kind of a smaller sign, but I did like that chunky wood frame. I thought that was really cute and provided a lot of character for this cute little sign. And these are all for my Black Cat coffee bar, and once I get them all done, I will show you how they all look together. But first I have one more DIY. I wanted to do like a little wooden garland for the front, and I wanted it to be a black cat theme, so I picked up some of the little black cat ornaments from the Dollar Tree, the wooden ornaments. I'm going to paint 2 of those black. And then I also want a pumpkin theme for Halloween and fall, but I want it to be coastal. So I'm going to paint my little pumpkins like blue agave to kind of go with the colors and the themes that we've been using for this coffee bar. And I love how it turned out. Now my coffee bar this year is Apothecary. If you haven't caught that video, you should check it out. It turned out so cool with all the Apothecary jars. And since I want that coastal farmhouse vibe, of course, I dry brushed everything with a little bit of ivory with a chunky brush. And I also paint some little like lines for a little shading on the pumpkins to give them a little bit, more texture. Make them look a little bit more 3D. And I'm going to string them all on some wood bead garland to kind of go with the wood beads that we used for the black cat sign. So I'm just trying to figure out some spacing, actually using the number of wood beads for a guide that actually helped me space them out a little bit better. And I'm going to tie the little wooden ornaments on here. So I have black cat, I have a blue pumpkin, black cat, and a blue pumpkin. Now, I always like to use like an odd number when I'm doing a garland like this. And at this point, I only have 4. And I think that looks a little off with 4, so I decided to add a 5th one. This is one of the starfish from the Shore Living line at Dollar Tree, a little wood ornament. And I thought that would be fun coastal. I could even do it in orange for fun for Halloween, an orange starfish. They do have like this little texture here on the front. I was just trying to bring that out a little bit here with the paint pen that didn't really want to work very well. To give it a little bit more texture, and I'm going to distress it as well to kind of go with the vibe of the rest of the garland. I'm going to add that smack dab here in the middle, which means I'll have to move some of them around a little bit for spacing, but I'm glad I added that odd number. I think it does make it look a little bit better. So moving everything over a couple, I'm going to hang this on my shelf that I used for my coffee bar, and then I actually changed my pattern. I thought black cats on the side. Now that I have like an odd number, there needs to be more of a pattern. And so then I just switched out the black cat and the pumpkin. And I'm just going to hang that on the front of the shelf. This is how it looks. This was my coffee bar shelf before I put in my coffee bar again from my house. but you can kind of see how it all came together. So let me give you a little tour around. There's our black cat hanging on the wall. We have like the rope black cat, which is probably my favorite, the Black Cat Coffee Company, some of my coffee cups and flavors and stuff. And at the time I store like my K-cups and stuff like in that little opening on the shelf. It was like a little storage thing. I love my new coffee bar so much better though. But this is my black cat theme. Lots of really fun ideas. Now the next DIY, I'm going to use a little bit more traditional colors, but it does kind of still have a coastal feel. I picked up one of these little wooden jack-o'-lantern signs from Dollar Tree. I want just the jack-o'-lantern though, so I'm trying to remove it from the base just by applying a little heat. And easy enough, you can just cut the little tabs off that was holding it in there. I wanted this cute little jack-o'-lantern sign to go on a little tiny sign that I was doing here for my kitchen. And I picked up a galvanized metal sign for the background. Since I was doing more traditional colors on this one, I went ahead and painted it with pumpkin, chalk paint, all over the front. I am, of course, going to distress it for a coastal farmhouse look with a little bit of ivory. But for this one, I wanted a more traditional little jack-o'-lantern, so I painted mine orange. And then it's going to fit great on one of these galvanized metal signs. I just attach it with a little bit of hot glue all the way around. And then for a little bit of added fun, I decided to add some of the fall ribbon with the little pumpkins. I'm just going to tie it in a little bow here. It's like the burlap ribbon. And make a little bow here for the top of our little jack-o'-lantern sign. Super easy, just a little bit of paint, glue, and ribbon. I'm going to kind of glue this off to the side. It's already got like a little rope hanger on there and super easy to put together. And it turned out really cute. This is what it looks like. Not sure if it's really coastal. I guess it kind of is with the galvanized metal sign in the back there, but the more traditional colors makes it more traditional like jack-o'-lantern. You could also do like a background behind there if you wanted like your eyes and your mouth to be black or gold or something like that. That would be cute. Now for the next set of DIYs, I decided to get really creative with the Dollar Tree skulls. The first thing I'm going to do is cut a hole in the top of them. I'm just using the candle for a stencil for a circle, and I'm going to draw a circle on the top of the Dollar Tree skull with a Sharpie, because what I want to do is transform these into vases. I'm going to do 3 skulls for this one, so 3 DIYs, and I'm going to display them all together. They turned out so cool. Because these Dollar Tree skulls, they're not a lot to look at, but if you paint them and do cool things with them like this, they can turn into definitely works of art. So some of the skull is really easy to cut and some of it's a little thicker, so be careful, especially if you're using a razor blade like I was, but I just basically wanted to cut a hole in top of his head. Now for the paint, I'm actually using Dollar Tree white paint and some baking powder. I wanted to try this technique to try to give me almost a white ceramic look on these skulls is what I was going for, which is why I added the baking powder. This is what it looks like. It's really kind of foamy and creamy. And I want to go over the Dollar Tree skull with that. I cut it first just because I thought it would be easier to cut it before I have the paint on there. And it actually gives you a little handle, makes it a little bit easier to hold while you're painting this. Now I'm going to do this on a total of 3 of the Dollar Tree plastic skulls to give us 3 skull vases. And I haven't used this technique a lot, adding the baking powder to the paint, but you know what? Even using the cheap Dollar Tree acrylic paint, which I'm usually not a fan of, it actually turned out pretty cool. So I cut 3, I painted 3 and let it dry, and I am going to need to do another coat of the baking powder and white acrylic to get really good coverage, kind of what I was going for on those. And I kind of paint them all over, even on the bottom. Now, they look like ceramic skull vases now, but they're still super lightweight, you know, like the plastic skulls are from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to thrift flip this sign that I got at Goodwill to make a base. It's a heavy wood sign. I thought it would be good for a base where I can display all 3 of my skull vases together, but you don't have to. You could always do them individually, kind of scatter them around. They actually just turned out so good. It did have white writing on there, so I'm going over it with a coat of that white paint first. to kind of mask that before we decorate the space a little bit more. And I'm going to need another coat because you could still kind of see the words coming through. Not a big deal, but I was trying to just start with like a blank canvas if I could for this space. And these are the skulls. I just cut up little pieces of floral foam from the Dollar Tree and fill it up because I want it to be full enough to be able to put florals in here. But I have kind of that small hole I'm working with, so little pieces is the way to go. And I'll still have lots of foam to be able to fill up with fall florals. Now, the white makes them look ceramic, but I wanted to bring a little touch of blue in for the coastal feel. And so for the florals, I'm using the blue leaves from the Dollar Tree. They come in like the bundles like this. Sometimes they have berries on them, sometimes they don't. And I am going to fill up all 3 of our little skull planters with the blue leaves. These are my favorite ones. And some of them even have pumpkins on them. Like this one had like little white pumpkins on it with the blue leaves. So they do have a couple different kinds. Like that one had berries on it. So you can kind of mix it up if you want to. I was trying to decide what I wanted where and kind of mixing those together. I decided I did not want the berries, so I went ahead and removed those. They can be a little chippy sometimes, and the color wants to fall off of them. And just making sure all 3 of my vases are nice and full, and I wanted all of them to have a pumpkin. The white pumpkin looks great with my white skull planters. And I even had an extra pumpkin. I was trying to decide if I wanted that in the middle or if I wanted them to be all the same. I decided I wanted them all to be the same. So after a little bit of arranging with our leaves, we have all 3 of the skull planters ready. We can go ahead and prepare the base. I thought for a coastal feel, the burlap would look good. So I'm just using a little bit of burlap roll from Walmart, actually the 6-inch. And I am just going to go over the top of my DIY tray that I made out of that thrift flip sign. And kind of letting that, go over and hide the loose ends there at the bottom. It does have a sewn edge, so it's pretty clean looking. And then for the front and the back, I actually used Dollar Tree brown rope for some more texture, a little bit more coastal fun. It's pretty wide, so I just went ahead and did 2 rows just for fun. For a little base to display the 3 little skull planters. I love how they turned out with that baking powder technique. Definitely a cool technique and cool way to use some of the Dollar Tree paint, which sometimes is a little thin for my liking. It kind of does a chemical reaction and foams up, which is kind of cool. But it really looks like ceramic when you're done. So I went ahead and did 2 rows of rope on the front and the back, just burning off any fuzzies, kind of cleaning it up a little bit here before we add the skull planters. I think it's going to be just about the right size. I'm trying to find the center, and I'm actually going to glue them down just because they're so lightweight. I don't really want them tipping over, and I want to display all 3 of them together, and they turned out pretty cool. I was kind of impressed with the skull DIY. I'm trying to do some pretty blue things, a little bit coastal, a little bit blue. But look how cool they look. I'll give you some close-up shots of this so you can make sure you see that cool texture. Isn't that so cool? I really love how the little skull vases turned out, and they look great with the blue leaves. Those are always my favorite ones. They have all different colors of those for fall. They even have purple. But I love how it turned out. I think it was really fun. And I have another creative skull DIY for you as well. So again, this time I'm using the plastic skull again. And I'm going to do that same paint method. I really liked how it turned out with the white acrylic and the baking powder. And we're going to paint this and try to do like kind of a work of art out of the skull. See if we can bling it out to the max. And I want to display it on a Dollar Tree candlestick as well. So you could do this with the smaller skull too that's already on the pedestal, but I wanted this one to be a little bit bigger. So instead of cutting a hole in it, this time I just painted it with that texture. And I'm also going to paint the stand. It was already white, but I wanted it to be the same kind of like white ceramic texture. So I went ahead and painted the candlestick as well. Once I got that together, I wanted to make sure it stuck, so I used some E6000 on the glass and a little bit of hot glue as well to glue my skull on there, and we can start decorating it. Just like that. I always find E6000 works a little bit better on glass. And I can touch it up if I need any more painting since it's kind of all the same color at this point. Now to decorate it, I'm using the adhesive diamond wrap from Dollar Tree in this pretty blue color. And I wanted to see if I could bling out like the scalp of the skeleton to try to make it into a work of art. I found that the best way was to cut individual strips of the diamond wrap and wrap them around the skull like that. And I just started right there in the middle, like right there at the base of the nose of the skull. And it's already got the adhesive on the back. So all I have to do is stick it. And they're going to be a little bit different lengths here in the back because they're a little bit different lengths in the front. But when you're working just like 1 or 2 strands at a time, it makes it easy. I decided that was kind of taking too long though, so I tried to see if I could do 3 at a time for this middle section, and it worked pretty well. So then I kind of mixed it up, sometimes 2, sometimes 1, whatever worked for the way that the skull was shaped. But I want to kind of do that all the way along the sides as well. And have this like blue textured diamond skull. I decided to add a little bit more texture and stuff to it instead of leaving it just the diamond. But I think it's pretty cool looking. Now, the side areas here, you have kind of a round shape left to fill in. And so I just kind of cut pieces one at a time, kind of patched it in. You don't have to have perfect rows. I was just trying to cover as much of the ceramic skull as I could. I want it to be ceramic on the face, but I want the rest of the skull to be like blinged out with this like great texture. So just a few more pieces over here on the side until I'm happy with it. And then I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side. I actually used a little bit bigger piece for the main piece, and that made it a little bit easier. And just filling that in. Now, I told you I wasn't going to leave mine diamond. I wanted mine to be a little bit more coastal. So I mixed some different blues together. I kind of wanted the same color as the blue leaf that we used on the vases, right? That's the color I was going for. And I'm actually just going to kind of paint over it to make it look kind of studded, but in the color that I wanted. Now, if you like the bling look, by all means, leave it like the diamond mesh. It was just a little bit too bling for me at this point. I wanted to see if I could make it look a little different just by kind of painting it, dragging a sponge brush over it, and painting them blue. I'm not sure which way I like it better. I did want it to match these blue leaves because I am going to use those to decorate the base of it. So I tied some twine around the candle holder, and I'm trying to attach some blue leaves here that are going to come up underneath the skull for some fun decor. It's going to tie it in together with the skull vase DIYs that I did. And I also want to add just a little bit more fun to it as well. So I want to decorate the base of it as well. Again, I want it to look like a ceramic and stone like skull work of art. So I thought some wood beads would be good for that to line around the top of the candlestick at the base of the skull. So I just wrap that around. It's almost like a little skeleton necklace. I was really trying to think outside the box on this DIY. It was definitely unique. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun trying to put this together for you. So there is our little would-be necklace. We have the blue leaves, and we have all of the blue painted bling. I decided it was a little dark, so I did go back and distress it ever so lightly with some ivory just to brighten it up a little bit and kind of make it go with my decor a little bit more. I think I do like it painted a little bit better, but you know, the diamond is pretty as well. But definitely a fun creative idea for one of these cheap Dollar Tree skulls. And let me show you how this turned out. It's definitely unique. It was a fun DIY to put together. I do like the blue colors and using that paint texture on the face of the skull. Again, a fun little experiment to try out with that one. And this is how it turned out. Kind of cool. Now you've made it all the way to the final reveal for all 20 of our coastal Halloween Dollar Tree DIYs. I hope you got lots of fun inspiration. Let me know which one was your favorite down in the comments below. Be sure to visit my other YouTube channel at Crafty Little Beach if you want some individual DIYs. And you can catch me on all social media at Crafty Beach on YouTube. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's video. That always helps my videos do better here on YouTube. I also want to give a huge thank you to all of my members on YouTube. Thank you to Karen O'Haron, Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Tracy Knight, Nancy Wunner, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, Live Another Day, Tracy Wooldridge, Maren Christensen, Debbie Middleton, Adrian Brolt, Red Mama, Tammy Muir, and Donna Tanner. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. If you'd like to become a Crafty Beach Fun member, all you have to do is hit the join button next to today's video. You're going to get early ad-free access to my content here on YouTube. It's $4.99 a month, and you're free to cancel at any time. Now, I included lots of Halloween DIYs today, but if you want more, I've got you covered. Check out one of these Halloween DIY videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting and happy Halloween.